It is the 5th of July, 2026, and Neymar is standing over a penalty in the last minute of stoppage time. He scores it, and it does not matter. Brazil have already lost to Norway, 2-1, knocked out of the World Cup in the round of 16 at MetLife Stadium outside New York. Moments later, at 34 years old, the all-time leading scorer in the history of Brazilian football looks into a camera and says 4 words: "It is now over." He is not talking about the match. He is talking about his country. After 16 years, Neymar has walked away from the national team, and the way he said goodbye tells you everything. "I tried," he said, per NBC. "It started here at MetLife Stadium, and I finished here." Now read that line again, because almost nobody caught what he meant. He meant it literally. Neymar's first game for Brazil came on the 10th of August, 2010, in a friendly against the United States at that same stadium in New Jersey. His international career opened and closed on the same patch of grass, 16 years apart. The ending was written into the geography before he ever kicked a ball there. So, this is the story of how the most gifted Brazilian, since Ronaldo Nazario, became the biggest what-if of his generation. He grew up in Mogi das Cruzes, a city in the state of São Paulo, born in February 1992, and he announced himself at Santos, the club where Pelé once played. In 2011, he dragged them to the Copa Libertadores, South America's version of the Champions League, the biggest club trophy on the continent. Pelé watched from the stands as Neymar scored in the final. Per goal, he left Santos with around 136 goals in 225 games, a teenager already being called the future of the sport. Then Barcelona came calling, and this is where the trouble starts. Officially, the 2013 transfer was declared at 57 million euros. A Spanish court later suspected the real cost was north of 83 million, and the case followed him for years. Hold on to that, because it matters later. On the pitch, though, Barcelona was the peak. Under manager Luis Enrique, Neymar joined Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez to form the front three fans nicknamed MSN. And in the 2014 to 2015 season, those three scored 122 goals between them, per Sports Illustrated. Barcelona won everything, including the Champions League final in Berlin, where Neymar scored the third goal. Across 4 years, he scored 105 goals in 186 games. He was, by then, universally rated the third best player on earth, behind only Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. The question was no longer whether he would reach their level, it was when. And then he made the decision that defines him. In August 2017, Paris Saint-Germain paid his release clause, 222 million euros. Let that number sit. It was the most expensive transfer in the history of the sport, and it more than doubled the previous record. He left the best team in the world to become the main man at a French club that had never won Europe. The gamble was simple: win the Champions League in Paris, and the throne is yours. He never won it. 4 French league titles, yes, a Champions League final in 2020, lost to Bayern Munich. But the trophy he moved for, the one that would have put him alongside Messi and Ronaldo forever, never came. He scored 118 goals in 173 games for PSG per goal, and still the 6 years are remembered for what did not happen. The player who arrived to fill the role of untouchable superstar eventually found himself in the shadow of a teenager from Paris, Kylian Mbappé, the man PSG decided was the future. The throne Neymar came to claim had a different occupant by the time he left. Here is where it turns, and here is the thread that runs under everything. The body kept breaking. Go back to the 2014 World Cup, on home soil, the tournament that was supposed to crown him. In the quarterfinal, Colombia's Juan Camilo Zuniga kneed him in the back and fractured a vertebra. Neymar told the BBC afterward that if the blow had landed a few inches lower, he would have risked being paralyzed. Brazil played the semi-final without him and lost to Germany, 7-1. The Maracana humiliated, the entire country watching, the most humiliating night in Brazilian football history. The CBF, Brazil's governing football confederation, was left rebuilding not just a squad, but a national identity. That injury was the first of many. According to Transfermarkt data cited by 90min IN, Neymar has missed around 893 days of his career through injury and illness. Read that number as a hammer, 893 days. And here is the detail that reframes the lazy, always injured story. 579 of those days came after his 28th birthday in 2020. More than half his lost time landed in the final third of his career, right when he should have been at his most decorated. Which brings us to the strangest chapter of all. In 2023, Neymar left Europe for Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, a €90 million move on a contract reported at $160 million over 2 years. Then, in October 2023, he tore his ACL playing for Brazil against Uruguay, and the Saudi experiment collapsed. He appeared in 7 games, 1 goal. Now, do the math the way the National did it. Al Hilal spent roughly $245 million in fees and wages for 428 minutes of football. That works out to $572,429 for every single minute he was on the pitch. 442 called it possibly the biggest waste of money in football history, $572,000 a minute, for a player the whole world once expected to define an era. And yet, look at what he still did in the Brazil shirt. In September 2023, in Belém, Neymar scored his 78th and 79th international goals and passed Pelé to become the all-time leading scorer in the history of Brazilian football. His words that night, per Reuters, "I am not a better player than Pelé." He also has an Olympic gold, won in Rio in 2016 when he buried the decisive penalty against Germany. Partial revenge for 2014 on home soil in front of his own people. Now consider what Ronaldo Nazario did with a career similarly shredded by injury. 2 World Cups, 2 Ballons d'Or, 62 goals for Brazil. The comparisons were always there from the beginning. The Santos origins, the flair, the pace, the weight of expectation that only Brazilians seem to carry differently to everyone else. R9 got his hands on both trophies. Neymar got neither. And that gap, more than anything else, is where the debate lives. So, which is it? Is Neymar a wasted talent or an unlucky one? This is where the pundits split hard. One of Goal's writers called him the biggest waste of potential in modern football history. Teammates push back just as hard, framing a man robbed by injury and cheap shots rather than a man who wasted himself. Both sides are looking at the same 893 days and reading them in opposite directions. And here is the one thing neither side can argue with. He never won a World Cup, he never won a Senior Copa America, and he never won the Ballon d'Or. For the most naturally gifted footballer of his generation, that is the scoreboard. Which is why the last act hits the way it does. In January 2025, with Al Hilal terminating his contract, Neymar went home. He signed for Santos for free, was presented at their little Vila Belmiro stadium in front of a packed house, and took Pelé's number 10. "Santos is not just my team," he said. "It's my home." He helped them survive relegation, and he signed on through the end of 2026 with 1 goal left, the World Cup in the United States. He nearly did not make the squad. Brazil's new coach, Carlo Ancelotti, the man who won 4 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid and AC Milan, left him out of friendlies in early 2026, saying only players at 100% would feature. In the days before the final roster, Neymar quietly changed his Instagram bio to add the word Brazil, a small human tell of how badly a 34-year-old wanted one last call. He got it. He came off the bench against Scotland on the 24th of June, his first Brazil appearance in 981 days, and he played just 2 of Brazil's 5 games before Norway ended it. So, where does that leave him tonight? Back at Santos, in Pelé's number 10, under contract only until the end of this year, his international career finished on the same field where it began. He has floated a reunion with Messi and Suarez in Miami, though nothing is signed. The greatest talent of his generation is 34, home, and out of tournaments to chase. The kid who was going to inherit the sport wrote his own ending in New Jersey, and hardly anyone noticed he had planned the location all along.